So hello everyone and welcome to Vision Builders Podcast, where we talk all things careers, startups, and entrepreneurship. Today we are interviewing the one and only King of Flatbush. Okay, that would be Mr. Tip Top, the one and only. Okay, so here we go. What's up, Tip? What's good?
I'm alive, healthy. I'm alive.
You look healthy. You look good. You look good, yo.
Thank
my
you.
gosh, I'm so excited to be interviewing you on this podcast. So on this podcast, we talk about, pretty much everything from, what career you're involved in, what kind of startup you're starting, side hustle you got going on, or either what kind of entrepreneurship or small business or large business, whatever kind of business you got going on. And we also get into it a little bit about God, a little bit about our upbringing. So it's going to be a little bit of everything. So we're going to get in the mix right now, okay?
No problem.
Okay.
I'm an open book.
So I'm going to take it back because, we grew up together, Brooklyn, Flatbush, and you are very much known as the King of Flatbush. And, I'm going to give you a vivid picture. So I guess I'm coming from class one day and literally, we all kind of get home, from class and everybody's kind of like chilling. And then, we just see your face come across the TV talking about America's Most Wanted. And so we're like, everybody's calling each other. We're like, Tip Top is on America's Most Wanted. They want him. What'd he do? Who he murdered? We were losing it, right? And I could take them further back than that, but for me, that was like jarring. Like I thought he was the biggest criminal in America. So, and then I'm gonna tell you this: not many years, I see you out. Like, I'm like, how did this happen? So you gotta walk us through that, like, because you kind of, it's like God took your life this way, and then He just brought you and put you back on top. Like, only God could do something like that. So you gotta kind of bring us through some of the things that you went through. How you got to this point, yo?
Well, when all that took place, my life I was trying to get it on path, but I was also praying for redemption. I was praying for guidance. I was praying for loosen the bondage that was around me. I prayed for, to be more in meek and humbleness. And with that being said and done, when you ask for things, it don't always come how you expect it. Mm-hmm. And what He did in the midst of darkness, He allowed he allowed protection. His cover, his cover to cover me with blood as I walked through that belly of the beast, and was faced with so much charges from credit card to attempt murder, gang affiliation, being a leader, a plethora of different charges. And I was offered 75 to life at first. And out the 75 to life, I fought a year and a half, went through numerous of lawyers, paid lawyers, and I ended up taking 12 to life.
Wow.
And I was actually forced to take 12 to life, but it wasn't like it was it sounds like an oxymoron because I was forced, but I was also, the crimes that I did, I actually copped out for that.
Okay.
My exact crimes.
Okay.
Which was sale and possession of drugs.
Mm-hmm.
So I took the punishment for what I did.
Okay.
Everything else that was chumped up got thrown out the window.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I looked at it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they gave me 6 to life for sales because I had sold over a certain amount of narcotics.
Mm-hmm.
And then they gave me 6 to life on possession because
Mm-hmm.
I had the narcotics.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a comfort for me, knowing that facing 75 to life, all this fighting that I was doing, that at the end of the day, even though I was forced to take the plea that was on the table, it was actually the stuff that I did.
Right.
And I was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Because I started to realize that when I asked for him to remove everyone that wasn't good for me in my life, because of that word life, when people hear life, it's like, yo, he's never coming home, or she's never coming home because you have life.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said and done, so much people got, whether they robbed me, whether they just disappeared,
Mm-hmm.
whether they just lost faith in everything.
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't have no one. But through my walk through everything, yeah.
Oh, we gotta dig into that. We gotta dig into that.
So,
because you always had a crowd of, these like your brothers, or this is what they say. You know what I mean? Like, you think that if something goes down, they gonna have you forever. Now, I'm a teenage girl watching you growing up. I know that's your crew right there. You know, and if I know you and I know some of them, I'm thinking they got you for life. So to say, even you saying God removed certain people, like, I know you must have seen it all. Like, dig into that a little bit. Like, what was it like for him to show you people that you really thought was your brother or your man, or, whatever you guys call it?
I didn't feel no way through that whole situation. Reason being, it was like I was comfort. Like, I had comfort. I was like, people was like, yo, how could you be smiling and laughing and joking, and you have life charges on you, right? Like, that was when I was still facing the 75. And even when I took the 12 to life, it was still like, yo, you realize you have 12 to life. You have to do 8 years before you can even think about, touching that life. Like, they can really, every time you go to the board, they can really hit you for life. 2 years every time for life. Like, once they put a life on it, like this, it's timeless of hitting you. And he answered all my prayers, and I was comforted. I was comforted. I didn't really have no problem. And the crazy thing was, when everybody disappeared, a whole new wave of people came in.
Wow.
Facts. A whole new wave of people came in. People who I wasn't even thinking of, like, beyond thoughts, was popping up out of nowhere. Like, yo, hey, we here. Like, I'm here. Like, do you need anything? And it was just like, wow. Like, literally, like, wow. Like, that wave went and another wave came. And that's what held me down. But through my whole process going up north, doing state bid, and then I actually went to the feds, I was at the feds for a little while. I beat my case in the feds, went back to the States. Yeah. So, it was a crazy journey, but it allowed me to see so much, learn so much, and get closer to God. Because I always knew God. I always was the one that prayed. I always had a candle in my house. I always my family is Spanish. So yeah, we had saints and stuff like that, but I never paid no attention to the saint. I always paid attention to prayer. So I knew God. I knew of God. I knew Lord. I knew my Lord. But I didn't accept my Lord and Savior. I knew Him. So it took for me to go through that situation.
Yeah.
And even when I was up north, when I was before, like when everything was taking place, even when I made the news, when I made the news and people, I remember it was like I got locked up on a Wednesday. The crazy thing is, what today is, the 22nd? Tomorrow is the 23rd. That's when I got locked up.
What?
Yeah, tomorrow's the 23rd. January 23rd, 2002. That's why I got locked up. So that's crazy. You doing the interview the day before So I got locked up. Yeah, I got locked up on a Wednesday. I locked up on a Wednesday. No, I want to say it was a Tuesday. The Wednesday is when it made the news also, because I made the news again when I was already in Brooklyn House. It was like, yeah, they caught me. They took down a big gun smuggling from the I-95. It was called Operation Arrowhead. And I was all over every station. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember I was talking to.
You was in the paper. It was
yeah. So it's like, so with that, people was like, "Yo, man, that's not good," and I was just like, because I didn't know what I was really facing. But again, through that whole situation, me making the news, me making all media, and I still was cool. You know what I'm saying? It was nothing. I wasn't worrying. I wasn't stressing. I just had faith, and I fought my case after I came back from the feds. I was back in the States. I fought my case, and the Rockefeller drug law came into play. That was 2005. So I actually got resentenced 2005. End of 2005, I got resentenced.
Under those laws?
Under the Rockefeller drug law.
Wow.
Yeah, under the Rockefeller drug law, I got resentenced. So they resentenced me they took away my life sentence. They gave me 8 years flat, and 5 years supervision. I came back up north, and then I stayed. I came home 2009. I still had some time that I owed them. I did it, and I came home. And when I came home, it was like I was a whole new man now. Like I understood things. Even when I was in prison, I took up hospice. I was doing hospice when I was in prison. I did like 3 years in hospice, and that was a whole different arena, because it's like I'm in the streets watching people and seeing people get shot and stabbed up and die, and it's like, but then now it's different when you're locked in it's not a cell, it's a hospital, but it's a jail hospital, prison hospital. And when people, they put you with people, of course, that are, when you walk in, they're good, they're healthy, they just don't have family, but you're there for them. And you're with them from stage 1 to the last breath.
What?
Yeah, like you're there with them the last breath, like you know. And I seen numerous passing, and it was just me, the presence of an inmate being with another inmate when usually it would be a family member or a hospital, you know, being there. They don't have no family, so now we step in to be there with them on their transitioning, on a transitioning out, you know. So that also gave me a whole different outlook in life. Like, wow, you know, like,
all right,
it's crazy.
I gotta stop you. What were those conversations like? Because I remember doing a study about, you know, people who are about to die, what their regrets are. And usually they regret, you know, not taking more risks in their life. What kind of stories you must have heard from people who are about to die? Like, what's that like? What kind of conversations, you know?
A lot of the conversations were, a lot of guys had the opportunity to go home, but they didn't have no one to go home to because of either the amount of time that they've been in prison and the people who they had, family members, all died out. And it's like, I'm free to go home, but there's no one to get released to. I don't have a place to be released. And you know, when you getting released from prison, you're getting released from prison on parole. So when you get released from parole, they have to go to a residence to make sure that you're going to be staying there. Well, in this case, there's no residence for the person who's free to go home.
Wow. I never even thought about that.
So now their freedom is really behind bars. And yeah, you know, so it's like those were more of the topics, you know, like, you know, and it's crazy because it just showed me to appreciate, you know, family and certain people that you really, you know, that you have in your life, because here you go, you have people that have freedom but don't have a life to go home to.
Right.
So, you know, in all actuality, it's like they're getting robbed from being able to be free when there's court papers saying they're free to go home, but they have to
stay.
They have to pass in prison while incarcerated. So you're free, but you're incarcerated, but now you're free. And then you're getting buried, you know, in the potter's field. You're not even getting buried, not even getting a proper burial because you have no one to go home to. There's no one to take up no funeral expenses. There's no one to do anything except the Department of Corrections. So, you know, a lot of those conversations were those, you know what I'm saying? And
wow, what did that teach you? Like, what would you say? What lesson? Because you know God put you there for a reason. You know what I mean?
I was trying to be slick to use that as a program to get out earlier. but it ended up being different. You know, it ended up being different. It showed me a lot. Like, you know, I got shot them times. I got shot 11 times, and I was a lot.
Wait, you got shot 11 times?
Yeah, I got shot 11 times. So I'm looking at it. I got shot 11 times. I got stabbed 2 from my heart, shot 2 inches from my navel, bust 2 inches from my temple. So I look at it like, yo, you've been through all of this. You faced life in prison. You gave it back. You gotta be thankful. Like, you gotta be thankful. You went through all of this, you gotta be thankful. And you know what I'm saying? And it was just like, for me, I was more humble, more appreciative. My outlook with life and everything was different. I was just more grateful. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it that whole situation transformed me for the better. Like if it wasn't for prison, I don't think I would be the person who I am now.
Right.
You
Wow.
know?
Wow. So, I mean, tell me a little bit, like, what is one of the biggest lessons you've learned about friendship and friends? And I say that because I really, I reached out to you after this long post and video that you did about a year or two ago, where you was just like talking about and really showing people who I guess kind of like, put you out there, you know, that you never thought would. What would you say is like one of the biggest lessons that you learned about, your circle and the company that you keep?
I learned a lot, but what I take from everything is, well, my circle, we didn't grow with the proper structure.
Mm.
And in our lives, our mothers, because, every one of us is Caribbean descended. And it's like our mothers, majority of our mothers, because a lot of my dudes didn't have the fathers. So majority of our mothers only knew how to raise us but so much
Yeah.
because they were raised in the countries, Panama, Jamaica, Trinidad, Haiti, Guyana, you know, they were raised in a certain manner. So you couldn't expect certain things from other people. You couldn't blame people for their actions.
Right.
I never did. I didn't come home holding no grudges against nobody. I came home on some man, like, let's go, man. Like I might have been gone, but my name was so heavy in the streets because it was all on the radio stations and everything. So it was all at parties. Like I was when I was on phone calls, dudes letting me hear tapes, big people bigging me up. Every artist is bigging me up. Like so, it was like I never missed a heartbeat because my name was always ringing. You know what I'm saying? So, but I still came home grateful because I had a second chance in life and of life. Now it was what I was gonna do. Was I coming back home to be the old tip top, or was I coming back home to be the new tip top?
Right.
And I know what it is to have a life bed. I know what it is to face a life bed. I know what it is to be in the feds. I know what it is to sit down and talk with dudes who's rejoicing because they beat the in the feds, they beat the death penalty, but they have natural life. They not going home, but they're rejoicing like like they just found out they're about to go home in 2 days.
Right.
And I'm seeing papers of I'm reading these dudes' papers in the law library, and they're fighting death sentence.
Right.
So it's a whole different manner to when you come in the streets. My conversation and my outlook and my view with a lot of dudes, yeah, they could be like, yo, I was locked up too. I had this, I had that. But if you have these questions like, yo, you ever seen execution papers? Like, yo, could you ever find them sitting down reading, yo, this?
They want to give you the needle.
Yeah, you're sentenced to die. You know what I'm saying? Like, those kinds. So you will never understand where mental frames and how does that play on individuals' mind? Like, damn, like this guy is really not. He's gonna die by the hands of the government. Like, wow. But they're praising that. They're not gonna die. It got overturned. They're not gonna die, but they're gonna just serve their natural life in prison.
Yeah.
And if dudes was grateful for that, I had to be. I'm saying? So so like I said, man, my approach to life and looking at things, and even when I was locked up, I did a good amount of counseling. So, I did drug program counseling. I did um drug. What else I did? I got my certificate. I got my certificate for HIV, being a peer educator.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I did other counseling as far as
Like personal
yeah,
stuff. Mm-hmm.
personal stuff with that. So so now I look at people's behavior differently than I would have looked at it before my incarceration.
Yeah.
And I understand it more. So people will look and things that we would violate an individual for in the streets because they're moving a certain way. I look at it and I'm like, they're moving that way because that's the tendencies or the traits that they received from their mother, because their mother, when they was raising him, he was raised around nothing but females. Now he's out in the streets around males, but he's running around with female tendencies.
Right.
These things we never even paid attention to. Like, we'll look at things like that and be like, yo, how you moving like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, but my approach to things is different.
Right.
My fallouts with individuals, I've learned to look at self and be like, what role did I play for me in this personal fallout?
Yeah.
To whereas I never looked at things like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it just made me appreciate things, and even take it to the part where, like, yo, I'm not too big to turn around and reach out to a person who I fell out with, even if I wasn't wrong.
Right.
Some deserve a handout, and a lot just don't. Because if you forgive in your heart, you don't have to go to them and tell them, yo, I forgive you.
Yeah.
They can be at one part of the earth, or they could be right next to you. I forgive you. I don't look at you with malice or whatever it is. You might still be nervous of me because you know that, yeah, I can go the way where I came from in a heartbeat, but I'm not even on that type of timing. I'm good,
Yeah.
and to this day I go through situations like that. I've had people, try to tell me, well, you're a man of Christ. You should be speaking to this person because you're a man of God. And it's like, I'm a man of God, but God never said in the Bible that once you forgive, you have to go sit down and speak with an individual. No.
Mm-hmm.
Once you forgive,
you let it go.
In your heart, he knows.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He knows your heart, as it said in the Bible. He knows you.
Yeah.
So there's no animosity. So when I ask for forgiveness, he knows that I can forgive you because you forgive others.
Yeah.
There's no blessings that stop you. So like with things like that, I've grown up. I'm able to use my words and my approach and my me being who I am, notorious. Everybody, like, when I speak to individuals, they be like, yo, like, yeah, that's you who they are. I'm like, yeah, what I'm saying? Like, but I'm not on that type of timing no more.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, you can see it. It's like your energy is just like, it's just so positive. And if I didn't know God, I didn't know Christ, then I would just feel like you just full of this positive energy, but I know it's God. You know what I mean? Radiating from your life. Like, you just always look happy. And I'm like, yeah, that's the mark of God. You know what I mean? And I would say one of the things I've noticed real quick, and I don't know, I know this was God, but on the other end, it's like, how the heck, when you came home, it was like instantly you was right back on top. It's like, how you do that? Like, I remember I was somewhere with my friends and I heard a conversation and they were like, yeah, we having this get together, we're having this party, and we need some supplies, we need this, we need that. Yo, somebody called Tip Top. I'm like, did he just get out of, you mean he gonna supply this whole place, this whole party, this whole event? Like, how you do that, yo? How you come out and just go right back on top? Like, where they do that at? Like, where they do that at?
It's only one person, man. God. God, I came back. I was like, I didn't miss a heartbeat, but I was more careful on what I did.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? More careful what I did, more strategic, and just paid attention to what was missing. And like, I didn't come home doing regular parties. As I came home, I brought Amber Rose to Brooklyn. First person to bring Amber Rose to Brooklyn. I brought Evelyn Lozada from Love and Hip Hop. I brought Jennifer, I had what's her name? Jennifer Williams from Love and Hip Hop, Tahiri. I did Mario. I did Waka Flocka, Rick Ross. Like I came home doing all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and these dudes that been on the streets for here, you know what I'm saying? For the 7 years that I've been gone, 8 years I've been gone, I came home and superseded them and just kept on climbing, to the part when I was doing parties and events in the Bahamas with DJ Self, and I did my show in Panama with Vado. I did, what else we did? We did Jamaica. Like I just came back from Colombia. We're going to do Colombia next year, 2023. A rich older lady came to me when we was in Colombia, and she wanted to invest in me for Egypt. She wanted to do something in Egypt. I was like, what? She's like, yeah, I want to do something in Egypt. Just let me know. I'm like, like, hold door, like Egypt, you want to do? Like, wow. But I mean, it's just a blessing. I just had to take that and really be open. But yeah. So
it's just crazy. It's crazy. I like the fact that it's nothing but forgiveness. You know what I mean? Like, even on the people that stabbed you in the back, it's like, even now, you don't have nothing negative to say about anybody. It's just all love. And I think that's what the essence of forgiveness is like you forgive, you let it go, and you just move on. You press toward what's in front of you and what God has for you, and let everything else sort itself out. And so, that's also just another sign that, God is with you. You know what I mean? Like,
definitely.
If you could let it all go, like, I mean, you was like, you got proof of people stabbing you in the back. And then it's just like, yo, you could call me. Like, it's all love. Like, I don't hate nobody. It's all forgiveness. But I'm going to go here and I'm going to just keep climbing and let God do what he's doing in my life. So, I give, praises to God for that, for what he's doing in your life. But it's just growing, yo. It's getting big. Like, all right, there's some entrepreneurs out here, like this right here that you're talking about. This is like a grace and anointing, right? To kind of step into these places. Like, some people, you can grow into it, you can work for it. And then, for some people, it's just like, this is you born for it. You know what I mean? Because people like you, you like a little president. Like, like, that's my nigga. I'm like, I wasn't around. That's when we was little. Like, I don't even know you.
Yeah. You remember I opened my restaurant too. I opened a soul food restaurant in the Caribbean.
Okay, so you got to get into the entrepreneurship, because I got entrepreneurs that are following me, and they are always trying to grow off of the wisdom of other people. Tell us about the ones you can tell us about. Share a little bit about your companies, businesses, and what you got going on in terms of entrepreneurship.
Well, I still got my clothing line, but it's put to the side right now. It's called American Fly. When I came home, I had it running crazy. I had Rick Ross, 50 Cent, damn near any artist you could think of. French Montana. We did French Montana whole album, his video shoots and stuff. His son, I forgot which album is that. His son walking in the desert with a scarf over his head. In French Montana sitting in the seat holding his son. That's all of my clothing line. It's called American Fly. It's still there. I just really haven't. I fell back from it, but it's there. I took it to different heights with me being a part of it. Then I opened up my restaurant called Brooklyn Soul Food. It was a soul food restaurant that I opened up in a 100% Caribbean neighborhood. My business partner used to telling me yo, man, a lot of people are saying it's not gonna work, man. Like a soul food restaurant in the Caribbean Flatbush, like in the middle of Flatbush. I'm like, man, watch me work. That's it. Watch me work. And I did everything. So you can go on social media now. My page is still at Brooklyn Soul Food.
And the restaurant is still there now. It's in Brooklyn.
It's still in Brooklyn, but now it's taken over. Other people have it. I have my restaurant. My restaurant was open for 4 years before I had to close it down because I actually had opened up another company. I did contracting with a big moving company called Mayflower. So I had branched off and did that. I left my wife dealing with the restaurant, and at that time also she was pregnant. And her pregnancy was hectic, and then she ended up going into the hospital because she was my son was a preemie, so she was in the hospital for like 2 months. So me trying to juggle the other job the other business that I had going on, and the restaurant, and what was needed for the restaurant, and what was needed for the other job, and then just different bills and different things, and then have to be at the hospital every day for her, and then
it's a lot.
And then I had babies. Literally, I had my two other ones, Prince and Peyton. They was young, so being there, got to be there for them. It was just too much. So it was just like after a while, it's like something. I got to close something down. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, it was a restaurant, but the restaurant was a great learning experience. That was my first time. I broke barriers with a soul food restaurant. My grand opening was like 2 block parties in one on Church Avenue. I got kids, I'll send you pictures. You'll see. My block party, if it was a party, it was shut down before it even started. My grand opening literally started at 11 o'clock. People was outside from 9, and the whole Church Avenue, from Notion to Church Avenue to Notion, coming to Church Avenue in Brooklyn, triple parked cars. The bus couldn't even pass. The police, I had the news people was out there, police pulled up. It was like, yo, I'm like, I mean, yo, and it's crazy because when you with a restaurant, you file taxes quarterly. So my first time filing my tax, I grossed $350,000 in 2.5 months.
Come on here. In your restaurant? What? What? Okay.
All right. So when my other peoples was showing me, like I didn't do it for the money.
I know.
My restaurant was never for the money.
Yeah.
My restaurant was for the community and the give back. And then the hunger started coming because I designed everything for my restaurant. My restaurant actually looked like the Nets stadium, the Nets, black and white. I had the floor with the Nets sign, but it's Brooklyn Soul Food. The logo, that was the whole logo. My staff had the shirts, the t-shirts. I was designing it for my clothing line. I had the jackets. Like it was a lifestyle. Brooklyn Soul Food was a lifestyle. I even got partnered up with I partnered up with a gym. I partnered up with a gym, Retro Fitness. Now, how do people like? How is a soul food restaurant partner up with a gym? That does not make sense. But I had a lot of healthy food also on my menu.
Oh, nice.
So that right there was the collaboration. Was like, so they didn't care about. And even if you think about it, even if you eat, you pig out, you need to lose weight.
You need to go take care of it at the gym.
Yeah, I'm saying the gym's right there. Once you go in and you tell them you got it from Brooklyn Soul Food, you get a total discount. So I partnered with a gym. Then I landed a big partnership with AT&T. So once I seen what was going on,
how you just you talk about landed. Like so many entrepreneurs are trying to get collaborations and partnership. Like how you just land these deals. Like they don't, you know what I mean? I'm talking about your grace. Like how you just get a deal with AT&T. Like help some of us, help the entrepreneurs that are listening. Like how you get these deals. You know, what do you do? What's the sauce? Yeah.
I just want to say is the push, the hunger, the determination, and having no fear. You know what I'm saying? You can't have too much second guess, especially when you prayed about it, when it's an annoying, and when you see the vision. If you see the vision, not everyone is going to see your vision. You know, no one told me, it wasn't going to work. They told my business partner that. Even those who have soul food restaurants was like, that's not going to work. Right now, there are soul food restaurants in Flatbush. Other soul food restaurants in Flatbush, and there's soul food restaurant right there. Magic Soul Food is right there. As-U-H and Utica and what's his name? Okay. Who you think gave these dudes the courage to be like, oh, he broke the barrier, I'm going over there because they stayed in Bed-Stuy. They was never coming across Crown Heights to come into Flatbush. Nah. The East Flatbush? Nah. Canarsie? Nah. But I broke the barrier. I broke the barriers for a while.
I see your sound. I don't know what just happened. Your sound changed a little bit.
I don't know why.
Okay, there you go. You sound good again. There you go. I got you.
Yeah,
so you broke the barrier, and that opened the door for other people to step out and do the same thing. Open up these soul food restaurants.
At different restaurants, because now you have people coming to me like, y'all want to open this restaurant, y'all want to do this, y'all want to do that. Dudes my age, dudes older than me, and they coming to me for, the guidance and what you do and what and it was crazy because I had my guidance, but when you inside your restaurant, and if you don't know about restaurant business, your guidance is all your mistakes. It could be
a bar for my entrepreneurs. That's a bar right there.
All your mistakes is your guidance because there's gonna be some mistakes that's greater than the others, and could be detrimental for your business. But if you're strong enough, you could swing through it and learn from it and get on the grind and make sure that that situation doesn't sink you. You have to think quick. You got to make sure you got to make sure so much like you can't hire friends. You can't hire family members.
Mm-hmm.
You opening up a business,
Mm-hmm.
that's my number one to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if it's your mother. I don't care, whoever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Go on Craigslist.
Mm-hmm.
Go on Indeed. Be really business-minded.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
when you start letting in family members, when you start letting in friends that have 10 years with you, 20 years with you, they feel that they own that restaurant, like, because that's my nephew, that's my son. That's so they talk to people how they want to talk to them. They feel obligated for certain things, and that already is going to cause you mad problems.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I've hired people, and I've been in 1 week. I was robbed $4,000
What?
in 1 week.
Job.
No, it was actually my cashier.
Wow.
She got. I hired her because I knew her, or whatever. But I'm just showing you that from her robbing me from I want to say, how she robbed me? She robbed me from. I used to do discounts for employees, city employees and stuff like that. So I got robbed on that angle. I got robbed of her giving out free food. I got robbed with a lot of voided transactions, but the voided transaction actually did take place. Wow. So it looked like a void, but it was actually a sale that went in her pocket. So yeah, $4,000 I got robbed in a week. And my manager ended up telling me this situation. And then when we replayed the cameras and when we looked at the tickets and we're looking at, she did 98 voids.
Wow.
98 voids.
Wow.
And 98 voids, and we had 92 discounts for employees. I've never had more than, and just honest, I never had more than 4 discounts in a week.
Oh my gosh. And she did 90 something.
90 something.
Oh my gosh.
So, the numbers were, when we came and looked, the numbers were low. We still made money, but the numbers were lower than we would usually make. And it was just like, how? And it was like, oh, it was slow. It wasn't really moving like that. But my manager was like, nah.
Something.
Yeah, it wasn't about something. He's like, check this. Mm-hmm. And when we went back and we started checking, it was like, wow. And you being a business owner, you can't bring streets into a business situation.
Okay, that's another bar. What you mean you can't? You mean you can't handle it? You can't handle it the street way. You gotta, even though you might want to, the old tip might want to come back.
Yeah. Know what I'm saying? So it's just like, and then, I'm not calling no police.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what? I gotta bite the bullet. But that's $4,000 that you took out of my pocket. Yeah. And I gave you a job. Like, I didn't do you. I gave you a job. I made sure you was good. You got paid every week. There was no reason for you to rob me. But when people see certain money and they never seen that money before, you're gonna get robbed. They're gonna find one way to rob you. And again, you have your cousins. My own son worked for me. I fired my son 4 times. 4 times.
Fired your own kid.
I fired my own Johnson. Ricardo Johnson. Yeah, my son. I fired him 4 times because he felt that's my dad. I could talk to dudes how I want to. I don't gotta do this. I could do that. Whatever. I could come in whatever time I want to work, whatever. And People didn't want to tell me what was going on at first, but some people spoke up, and it was just like, what? Like, nah, and I'll check him, talk to him, and then he'll continuously do it because he looking at it like, that's my dad. He ain't gonna fire me. He ain't gonna do nothing. Like, y'all know what it is, and I had to fire him. Even though I brought him back because he apologized, but I had to do that. And that's also with people's aunts, people's moms. That's my son. Or this is my daughter. Again, they'll talk to a customer, raggedy and reckless. Then they're on Yelp, violating your business. And you can't come at your mother a certain way because that's your mother.
Right.
Or that's your aunt. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy. And they're not calling you Mr. or Mrs. They're calling you by your name in the house, in business establishment.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I'm saying? So
if your nickname is, they call it.
Your nickname is Penny, that's what they call you in the restaurant. Penny. So, rule number one of thumb, don't put no family members or no good friends that work for you. Help them find them another job because that family member is not going to be a family member of yours, great and good standard after a few months or whatever it is. And that friend, oh, that's my girl, or that's my man, I could be your friend and your man, or whatever it is. And
I have a question for you now, because now you're getting into some good stuff. Talk to me about the money part, right? Because people could see your success, and that's one thing. But then sometimes, how do you handle the money part? Like, do you distance people from that? And it's just like you manage that alone, maybe you and your wife, because I think sometimes people they lose it a bit when they start to see the money flowing and it's not theirs. You know what I mean? Like, how do you handle that part? Because you obviously doing numbers. So like, how do you handle that? Like, what's a word of advice or wisdom you could get to the entrepreneur that's like, okay, my first month, I had a small beginning. 6 months, I'm at, 500,000, and certain people is like right in my space and they seeing this money. You know what I mean? Like, what do they do? How do they safeguard the money? You know what I mean?
The only way they safeguard the money is if people don't know what you're making.
Okay.
And people know what you're making, even if you ain't making it, but they know you're spending more than you're making or whatever it is again, if you start spending, if you start, acting different, if you start popping up with things new. The way the world is right now, you have to, especially if you're in the hoods, whether it's Brooklyn, whether it's Queens, and you're still in the hood, you're not in Manhattan, you're not in Williamsburg, you're not in certain places where it's not considered the hood, you still put yourself in some form of jeopardy because the mind frame of individuals, especially at this time of moment right now, it's 14, 15, 16-year-olds killing. Because they're not even thinking for the next minute. So you over here making this money and they know, oh, my cousin got this going on, and he or she making his brand. Like, I'm telling you, like, he went from rocking a regular watch to now he got a Rollie. You know what I'm saying? He went from driving a Camry. He just bought a Benz. You know what I'm saying? Like, he wearing Gucci this or she wearing this, and the mind frame of people. You have to be mindful of what you do and how you spend your money, how you take your money out, how you deposit your money. You have to be very mindful. You can never be comfortable when you're in a certain situation. Because that comfortability can put you in a certain situation. You might not be able to come out of. 'Cause, it. So, if you're making, People who's business minded can say that person is making money, can look at certain things and like, not because of what you're buying, but I can look at restaurants and say they're making money or not. I just by driving past there certain days, certain times, whatever it is. But a lot of people, they're not going to see that. They'll see a good amount of people in there and they're like, yo, this store's always crowded. This restaurant's always crowded. But it's because of the times you pass there. So now you think they're making that money, but they're really not. And then the overhead and all that comes with a restaurant, that's very expensive. So you as an entrepreneur that's doing what you're doing, stay quiet, stay humble. Never let people know, you get a phone call, oh, I'm gonna call you back, we counting out. Yo, I gotta go drop this money. Or, yo, I had to leave the money in the restaurant. Like, people don't need to know your business.
Yeah.
Even your workers, they don't need to know your business. So, with that being said, it's like, not even when you're in a certain space, at the end of the day, is again, what do you have your business for? Do you have your business to be public with it for everybody to see, oh, I just bought a whole new house from my restaurant, this and that, and you being flamboyant, or you're there really to have an establishment, to become wealthy, to branch out, to open up different businesses, to learn from this one business, to be able to be a boss, really hire people, and even do for your community. So which lane are you going with it when you open this business?
Did you do it for show or did you do it?
Yeah, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, because sometimes I look at people with their business and I don't really feel as genuine as you're showing. Look what I'm doing. You can do the same thing.
Yeah.
Or, hey, you counted me out, but look, or God, give God the glory because somebody believed in me and invested in me. I feel that a lot of times people are doing it to be flamboyant, to throw it in people's face, or, because that individual never had, and now they have, so it's just like, oh, but at the end of the day, you could do all that on the gram for social media. In reality of it, you're not. They say businesses fail within 3 years.
Yeah.
So I know people who open up a business and they didn't even go past 6 months. You know what I'm saying? But they're not gonna tell you anything. They still go front like it's there, whatever such. But dudes know the truth. So do it on a more humble note and do it from the heart. Do it from hunger. Do it for passion. Do it not for only you, but do it for the community, because that's when you opening up a business, that's who you want behind you, the community.
Yeah.
That is your supporter, the community. And then a lot of people who want to become entrepreneurs, they're not really ready to be entrepreneurs.
Say that again. They need their day job.
Yeah.
The job, yo.
So
But why you say that? Why you say that though? Why you say they're not ready to be an entrepreneur?
Because you open up a business, a lot of people don't want to take guidance. A lot of people feel that they know what they're doing when they don't know what they're doing, but they're going off assumption. They talk to people anyhow they want to talk to because they're finally a boss.
Yeah.
And they change their mannerism, their approach, you uppity, you feel like you're making all this money, no one can talk to you, whatever it is. But in actuality, like, that's not the approach being a business person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's what I mean by that. You're not,
Character is not ready. You and
at
your
all.
character
You're not at all.
create.
So, you might have the funds to do it, but the question is, are you really ready to humble yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Because the customer's always right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Always right.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they dead ass wrong, they
Mm-hmm.
are always right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have people who are bosses and like, I get the out of here. And you can't tell me whatever, but that's the customer you're talking to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You actually still work for them, right? Right.
And then, and yeah, you might say that's that one person, but that one person might have a big influence in the community.
That's right.
To be like, because that happened to me, not me per se, but one of my cashiers. They was very disrespectful, and they got reckless with one. A church was right across the street from me, and they got very disrespectful with one of the church members. They didn't know that they was a church member. They went over there. They told the pastor. The pastor told them, "Do not congregate or do any business over there in that restaurant."
That's crazy. You would make that, like, you know what I mean?
But you're right. But I understand it. Like, you just came in this neighborhood, and we want to give you business, and then you're disrespectful. You're supposed to serve. That's what you do.
Right.
And you're being disrespectful. You're serving food with an attitude.
Yeah.
Not humble. I don't want your food.
Yeah.
I don't want your food.
Yeah.
Because if I go in a restaurant and I see a woman or a man have an attitude serving me, guess what? I'm going to wait till you finish doing all that serving. And I'll be like, yo, I don't even want it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just walk. Because
Mm-hmm.
now you got to either push back that food, or you got to put it to the side and hope somebody come in to come order that same food, and you got to turn around and act like you making that food to get that food out of there.
Mm-hmm.
But so I understand where the pastor came from, and we found out. My wife ended up talking to somebody and helping the lady. No, matter of fact, she was talking to a lady at somewhere different, and they was talking. My wife was telling her, "Yeah, we have our restaurant, whatever." And the lady's like, "My church, it's on Church Avenue." And they was talking. She's like, "So you have a restaurant across the street from the church over there?" And she's like, "Yeah." And the lady was like, "I go to that church." And my wife was like, "Yeah, we try to do some whatever." And the lady was like, she's like, I want to tell you something. And my wife was like, what happened? And she told my wife, she's like, we're not supposed to support that restaurant anymore. And my wife was like, what? Why? Like, I didn't even know you came in here to support us. Like, we were wondering how can we get you guys to come over? And then she ended up getting on the phone and calling
the pastor.
And he got on the phone with my wife, and he told her, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, this is what happened, and this is not the first time that one of my members went over to your restaurant to purchase food, and you had disgruntled workers, whatever, sister. And then my wife quickly called me and told me, and I'm like, what? And of course, we got on that ASAP, and then we found out who it was, and it was one of my white family members, and it was
back to the don't hire family members, right?
Yeah. So now my wife and her falls out because she like, oh, yeah. And the crazy thing is, my wife didn't want to hire her.
Yeah.
I was like, hire her. You know what I'm saying? Hire her. Don't, that's your family.
You went against your own.
No, but this is how I learned. I had to learn the hard way.
Oh, that's what you said in the beginning. Right.
You know what I'm saying? So she felt, that's my, she had that attitude, like, whatever. And it was like, yo, that kept on going on, and we had to let it go. But then her and my wife fell out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And this was numerous of people that not only family members, friends or people who we knew, and it was just like, yo, I'm trying to feed you, trying to open the door with you. You over here stealing, you over here doing this, you're not doing this, you doing side hustles, like. So it's easier to fire somebody who is you're hiring from somewhere out than a family member or a friend.
Right.
That's one of the best advice that.
So what is it like to work with your spouse though? Because that's a whole different thing, right? Like to actually be in business and both of you guys are working together. What is that like?
Well, it depends on the chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it depends on the chemistry. And our chemistry was always dope because she was always a go-getter, but she wasn't a go-getter like me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I took her to a different level. Like
well, husbands are supposed to do that.
Yeah. Well, you know, not all husbands do it. Like,
that's true.
Like, hold on to the cake. We got this. And like she was also more of my motivator. Also with certain things too, because I didn't want to touch the cash register. I was like, nah, I ain't trying to touch the cash register. She's like, what? You gonna get behind here and learn? And she, you know, that was one of my scariest stuff, touching the cash register. Like, nah, good. And she pushed me to be behind the cash registers. She pushed me to even learn more of the restaurant business, because we were forced many a times, even being a restaurant owner, you know, you have to yeah, because once these cooks and these people know that you don't know what to do and you depending on them, they got you by everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They look at it
another like, bar right there. Learn and know every part of your business.
It's gonna be hard, but you have to, because at any given moment they feel, because a cook is gonna always have in their mind, they don't do right by me, I'm out. Or I'm gonna punish them. A cook is gonna, or entrepreneurs in the restaurant, keep that in your mind. The cook is gonna always have you by your balls. Because they know you depend on them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And once you do that, because you're going to have to do it because you don't know about restaurant business that this person do, you have to find a trust in that person. Even if you don't trust that person, you have to find a trust in that person because that's the head of the ship.
Right.
So we've went dealing with, you know, cooks, preps, like, oh, we're going to teach you a lesson and don't show up. Restaurant open, there you go. Restaurant open, no cook, no nothing. Like, you calling, they ain't answering. You texting.
It's the ugly side. That's the ugly side of entrepreneurship.
Yeah. So you know what? You gotta get dirty. Now you're forced to swim. Sink or swim. I'm not sinking.
Right.
I'm not sinking. Right. I might swallow a whole bunch of water, might catch a cramp, whatever, but I'm not gonna sink. I'm gonna swim. And of course, we was faced with that, and we had to deal with that, and we still came out, and you know, husband and wife, tag team, yo, get the yams, we gotta do this like this, start boiling the pot, so yo, get the collard greens, because everything for my restaurant was from scratch.
Right.
My restaurant was no can.
No canned goods.
No canned goods.
Wow.
In fact, the only thing that was canned was corn. Other than that, my potatoes was from scratch. My mashed potatoes, my potatoes was from scratch. My French fries was from scratch. My yams was from scratch.
Everything.
Everything. There was
from scratch.
My cornbread was not what they call that? The Jiffy? Nah, it wasn't. Mine was it was from scratch. Like everything from scratch. So we learned it, and we caught the swing of it, and we vowed that no cook will ever have us buy our books.
Yeah.
Because they control things. And they might say, y'all want a raise. And you're like, I can't give you no raise right now. Oh, word? All right.
I'm out.
Or again, if I'm not out, I'm going to stick you. Because remember, if you depend on a cook and he leaves or she leaves, she or he could figure out, you know what? I'm going to come back tomorrow like there's nothing happened. And guess what? What you going to do? You going to tell them, nah, get out of here?
Nah, you going to be like, strap up. Wow, you gotta watch those chefs, like.
Yeah. Ain't nobody coming in to replace them immediately off the bat just like that.
Right.
So it's like, you know what I'm saying? And once they get once they get the hang of it, I did it to them once, or I did it to them twice, or I get into a situation with them and they see my look, they already know. So they're gonna try to either comply with what I want. They're not trying to go through a situation how I let them before.
Yeah.
You know, so those things, and honestly, it would never happen again. And for me, I'm ecstatic to open up another restaurant.
I was just gonna ask you that. Would you do it again? You would do it again?
Yeah, listen. What I have in plan.
So that's my final question. Tell us what is coming for you. Like what's coming up for Tip right now? Like where's this ship going right now? Like you going into outer space? Like what we doing? Tell me.
Right now, I started my trucking company. I got my trucking company. I'm looking for drivers. I'm looking for drivers. Trucking pays. It's
big business.
Yeah, the money in trucking is.
It's crazy.
Beyond, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's definitely there. You just can't have lazy individuals. You can't think you trucking and every week I need to be home to splurge $1,000 here, or I need to be home every week to be doing nothing just to lay up in the seat. Nah, that's not trucking, and that's what people be doing. But doing the dispatching, I got a lot of things behind that. Like I said, I'm about to open up. I'm gonna open up another restaurant, but I'm doing it totally different. And in all honesty, God has gave me the vision and the prophecy of like
just millions. Just say.
It's like standing.
Show you all of this.
It's just like standing in Prospect Park and it's saying anything.
Like this park is yours.
This park is yours to feed. You know what I'm saying? No one else. So there's a lot of you, and it's God honest. That's exactly where I'm at. What it is, this vision with that from the trucking. And I want to, I'm looking to get into real estate, but I got a 5-year plan on this trucking situation. I got a year and a half in already, and I just want to. So I got that in motion. I also really started up I'm starting on my mentoring and my my a counseling. I want to do a counseling group, especially bring it to Flatbush. Yeah, and I want to offer so much programs. I want to build a youth center, just basically a junction for everyone to come through. And I feel like I'm obligated to do that to Flatbush, for Flatbush, because
it's where you grew up.
Yeah, and everyone knows my name. My name is synonymous with Flatbush. This is the truth. You know, and get back in. I'm working on get back on pushing my book, my documentary.
So are you leaving entertainment completely, like the events, like people know, like, you know, when you host something, the whole world start texting each other like, you going, you going, you going, you going. It's like a frenzy. So are you kind of putting that to the side to kind of focus on these other entrepreneurship things, or?
Yeah and no, because you still have to be relevant. And you can't be a has-been, or he's a living legend, but we don't know who, like. So, and with that being said, like, I can't speak to individuals and I'm not in tune with stuff. I can't go out and, like, because I'm in events doesn't mean I have to act as the world or act as such to be a part. Nah, because I don't even drink. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do none of that. But I'm mingling with people, bringing people out who don't go to parties no more because of all this craziness that's going on. I'm doing events, brunches, stuff like that. That's totally different. Like, I want to get into doing gospel shows and stuff like that. I gotta talk about it. Yeah.
That's
so,
what I'm talking about. Give us something.
Just building the right team when it comes to that situation. My cousin is a pastor. He's a pastor, and he's I forgot what he is, but he's a top bishop also. Eric Gons from his church.
What?
Tabernacle Praise.
Stop.
That's my first cousin.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's my first cousin.
Man of God. Amazing man of God. We graduated, like, he went to my school. So he went to my school. We both went to Nyack College, Alliance Theological Seminary. He graduated out of the same program I was in. So yeah, he's dope man of God. Amazing.
But the crazy thing is, like, of course I attend Tabernacle of Praise, but I ended up going to another church that was right around the corner from my mother-in-law, Mount Everett, Stephen Carter, Pastor Stephen Carter. And the crazy thing is, like, he's younger than me, and he's just real. And I fell in love with his realness. He not fake. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not pretending. He's down to earth, and I just been split between the two churches, whatever. But so it's hard for me to be like, like one home or whatever, and I'm dedicated to one person because it's like one person is my blood family. The next person is can relate and understand the streets, and he's from Brownsville, and he's not fronting, and it's just that. What's that chain that we have, like me and him? When he see me, he like, yo. And then when he seen what it was, because he followed me on Instagram, Ricardo. Wow. I was like, he's like, oh my God, I need you to do this. I want you to do this. I want you to do that. I want you to, with the youth, so I need you to talk to dudes and whatever. I don't have a problem with doing none of that because I'm here to give back. You know what I'm saying? Especially as much from whatever. So again, if I'm not a person that's in tune with the streets, in tune with in tune with the world, I can't kick it with people who is not in tune with the Lord.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I'm saying? Or even trying to.
More people are than you think, right? Like, I find that, like, just because you don't see them in church or you don't see them wearing, long skirts, there are a lot of people that really love God and have a lot of faith. They just where they at or might be caught up at the time. But a lot of people really have faith. A lot of people really do love God. They just caught up in whatever they caught up in, or they just live in life. You know what I mean? And I think it's for, those of us that are his sons and daughters that have, accepted Jesus Christ, to live an authentic life before them and just be ourselves. Don't find, just kind of show, God's love, God's light to people, and just let God do that work.
Yeah.
As opposed to trying to force anything on anybody, So I'm sure you kind of come across that, and I think that even yourself that's got to be an encouragement. Like, I know dudes look at you and your wife like, yo, how you do that? Like, how you stay committed? Like, it's like, right? Like, it gotta be God, like, cause they out here, I mean, even as a woman of God, like, you like, man, the hoes is winning, Jesus, like, you gotta help us, Lord, help us.
Yes, the hoes is winning, Jesus.
Help us, Jesus. I ain't going to get no plastic. So, but again, I say I really wanted to get a sense of like where you at, because I want entrepreneurs to, most of us are serial entrepreneurs. We always got all of this vision, and it's classic. Like, you on to the next. Like, all right, what else? What other big, thing are we going to conquer? Trying to take down. So, yeah, man, it's been great. There is love. It's always love. Between us. And so certainly we got to come together on a couple of projects. I ain't letting you go. I don't care where you at in the world. I'll be like, yo, Tip, this is what we doing, y'all. Let's get it done. Right?
You got my number anytime.
I know, and that's not easy because a lot of people don't got this number, so I had to hold it down. All right. Well, thank you for coming, Tip. Thank you so much. You guys have had the greatest opportunity to hear from the King of Flatbush, doing big things for God's glory, for his family, legacy to his children, and really a real example of entrepreneurship since his youth, even up to now. So entrepreneurs, side hustlers, those of you who are in your career, never stop, take some of the bars that he gave today and keep pushing in your business. So thank you and good night.
Good night.